Der Gegner von M.Wilson kommt genauso wie er selbst aus England, 32 Jahre alt, hat in den letzten 5 Jahren bei der BDO gespielt, ist jetzt seit 2018 bei der PDC mit dabei. Herzlich willkommen, Relentless Ryan Joyce.
Heating up here in Hamburg. Some fantastic matches, some dramatic matches at the European Darts Matchplay 2018 edition, and now it's over to two guys in their debut seasons on the PDC Tour. Ryan Joyce, who's perhaps impressed a little more, especially on the floor, than his opponent M.Wilson, and a couple of times he's bumped into him in qualifying for European Tour events and beaten him on both of those occasions. But Ryan Joyce took that floor form to the stage, at least at this stage, last weekend in Denmark, when he demolished Christoph Ratajski by 6 legs to 2. Let's see if he can continue his fantastic record against Wilson and his rising prestige in the PDC. Here to join me on this, the 180th day of 2018, is Dan Dawson.
Yeah, Ryan Joyce, big fan of Ryan Joyce. Think he's a very dangerous player. And he announced himself very early on in his Pro Tour career. It was only his 4th and 5th event, so he made quarter-final, semi-final, back-to-back.
Game on.
And although he hasn't hit those heights since, he is such a regular in the last 32, last 16 of events. This is his 3rd attempt at Euro Tours. He's won his opening game on both occasions, and he's yet to make it to the last 16, but you think it might well be coming. It may not be coming this weekend, it has to be said, because even if he does get through, it's Michael van Gerwen who awaits the winner. However, we have seen from Ryan Joyce that the boy can play.
And Michael van Gerwen was a shadow of himself in Denmark last weekend. He was beaten by Brendan Dolan in his 2nd match, having put in for his standard, a severely substandard performance in winning against Scott Taylor before that.
95.
I mean, he must have left Denmark with a tournament average in the low 90s. I mean, when was the last time that happened? When, Murph? When?
Well, I will just consult
99.
my research team and let you know. I mean, he left Zwolle with a tournament average in the 90s, but he also
won it.
left with £25,000 in his pocket.
Chris Dobie, another man from the northeast, same as Ryan Joyce.
My research team says it's never happened.
Ah, there you go.
60.
What has happened here today is that 3 German players have booked their places in the 2nd round, and they could be joined by a 4th when
100.
takes on Dirk van Duijvenbode in a couple of games' time. We've seen Jelle Klaassen tighten his hold on a world matchplay spot by beating Dragutin Horvat, one of the
60.
2 German qualifiers that failed to win. The other was Rennie Idams against Robert Thornton. We also saw a bizarre moment in that match from Horvat.
Yeah.
Took out 120 without hitting a double.
137, right,
Yeah.
you require 127.
Just see if he can take this out in the 19s. Needs to find the treble, and he's going to try and arrow it in from the right. Just like that. Back to the centre of the hockey. Bullseye he wants. Middle of the board.
101.
Well, it would have been a cleverly crafted checkout. This one's somewhat simpler. Great guide.
Game shot the first
And
leg.
he follows it in
M.Wilson.
to earn himself an immediate break.
Second leg mark, 2 throw first.
Yeah, it takes some
Game
going
on.
in that previous match for one player to take out 4 ton-plus checkouts and the standout moment be the other guy busting a ton-plus checkout.
60.
Yeah, it was quite incredible.
And potentially a game-changing one. I mean, game very much on.
Yeah, not the fact that he busted it to change the game, but the fact that he didn't end up getting a dart to take it out, because it bounced out of double top when he was aiming for the big 20.
19.
Not what the doctor ordered for M.Wilson, whom we have seen on the Euro Tour once before. That was at the European Darts Open back in March. He was beaten 6-2 by Mad Cameron Menzies.
Interesting stance. It's got the Justin Pipe arm in the background, just dangling towards his opponent. I wandered in the practice room earlier on, and M.Wilson was stood with his heels touching the hockey and twisting his body to throw at the board, and I kind of had to look twice. Is he going to do this in the match?
Well, so his feet were facing away from the board, and his entire body had turned around.
That's correct.
Like 180 degrees all the way around, like an owl.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Exactly like an owl.
We called the owl.
140.
We had an owl, didn't we?
Wasn't that was Richie Howson?
Richie Howson, I believe he was, yeah. There you see the stance that he's adopting for them, and I'm not sure if he continued to practice like that or whether it was a kind of trick shot that he was amusing himself with.
96.
They're very dainty. Not quite Ian Moss levels of ballet. You remember seeing Ian Moss in action. Ooh, the big sudden zoom on Ryan Joyce. And a slow zoom on the double 18 as well.
Third leg, Ryan,
well, he's cancelled out the break straight away, has Relentless, and that is a very apt nickname for Joyce. Has proven to be so in the short time that he's been a PDC player.
It was interesting. I had a chat with Ryan earlier on, and
93.
He's always been a dart player, but didn't have the funds to give it a go and do it properly, travel around, do everything like that. He was actually left a few grand by a great aunt in a will. And so he thought, right, I'm going to back myself here, jacked in the job, went travelling all around getting BDO ranking points, and started getting some success. We saw him make it to the Lakeside, where he took Martin Adams to a sudden death leg. He actually missed darts to beat Martin Adams, the multiple world champion, in the very first round. Who knows what could have happened had he taken that opportunity.
92.
But then he's made the step over to the PDC this year, and already he's picked up more than 20 grand in prize money.
100.
He is going well and looks very, very consistent. You look at the averages over the Players' Championship events, and he is right up there in the top 32. 28th, in fact, averaging more than 93. He's a very, very solid player, and you get the feeling that he's only going to get better, because this is alien to him. He was saying, I've played on stages in the BDO, but it's nothing like this.
Well, proving the old adage true that wherever there's a will, there's a way.
100. Mark, you
Well, he's got a sponsor now as well. He's got a fancy new dart shirt and a nickname and everything.
It's in the treble one, so 73 left for Wilson. Maybe wherever there's a Wilson, there's a way. But he couldn't find a way, and Joyce has a chance to get the first hold of throw here. 92 the target. Joyce has a choice. Was it the right one? Was that the right one?
60.
The answer to both could be no. Spoke about the 92 with Paul in the previous match. Well, that wasn't the intended target, was it, for Wilson? So Joyce will return for double 16. Now double 8. Gets it right, hits the front.
Off leg mark.
Yeah, the 92, we were talking about that with
Game
Paul,
on.
when you've got to take it out, so you've got a choice between bullseye and treble 20. And many players now are backing themselves to hit the treble 20, as
100.
the likes of Raymond van Barneveld always have. But then with the second dart, we've seen Joyce just there, and we saw Horvath doing it in the previous match, go for a treble.
140.
When you've got two bigger targets on the outer ring and two darts to hit or lose the leg, or at least expect to lose the leg.
And particularly with 92,
55.
where you can either stick two in the same double, double 18, which is a double that players leave quite a lot. And, you know, if you put the first one in there, it can be a big help in finding another one. Or, if you're looking at 72,
100.
you've got the two doubles that players leave on most occasions, double 16 and double top.
Yeah, well, what I found even more bemusing from Horvath is that he had 72 points left with two darts and opted to go for 36 via the treble 12 route. Paul Nicholson put it down to old school thinking.
Wrong thinking.
137.
It's a much better leg from Ryan Joyce here. 124 left after 9.
26. Ryan, you require 124.
And all the time in the world. No need to go treble 18 and bull, but he will look at the 18s.
92.
And I did have a little question mark whether he'd go for the bull, because Ryan Joyce does have a little quirk. We
Yeah.
talk about when you've got choices and what routes to go for things. If he
100.
lives 150 in this
Ryan, you
game, he will go bull, bull, bull. I guarantee it.
And how many times has he been successful with this attempt?
He has been
No
successful.
score.
In fact, I believe he did it against the Diamond Ian White in a Pro Tour game. He tried to do it a second time. Pulled it off the first time. Ian didn't know what was going on. He tried to do it again to go 5-4 up,
100.
missed it,
Ryan, you require
and then Ian won it
32.
6-4.
Didn't David Pallett try such a thing against Michael van Gerwen, only to
Games
find
on the
himself
ball
hoist
leg.
by his own
Ryan
petard?
Joyce.
He did. He did, you're right.
Joyce leads 3-1.
Fifth leg, Ryan to throw first. Game on.
David Pallett, very much like the Lord himself, moves in mysterious ways.
100.
Ryan Joyce has already beaten a couple of players in qualifying for this tournament. Josh Payne, a winner on the Pro Tour this year.
99.
Eddie Dootson in the decisive match. As for Wilson, it was former World Championship finalist Kirk Shepherd after seeing off Simon Stevenson to get here.
108.
Well, it's taken 4.5 legs, but we've got a first maximum of this one, and it goes to Ryan Joyce. Mark Wilson actually made a board final
85.
the other day in Wigan, his best run on the Pro Tour this year, and he kicked off the day with a 6-1 win over Michael Smith, the Premier League runner-up.
96.
Big, big victory that for Wilson.
It's not 150 left for Ryan Joyce, but he might fancy a little dabble at the bull section here.
59. Ryan, you require 125.
And why not? Well, Wilson not going to finish. Oh my. And the bull again. Oh, very
100.
nearly.
Well, Chris Dobie chuckles at that attempt. Had no need to go that way, could be left on a double here. But Ryan Joyce is
60.
the greatest showman in this sport.
25. 17.
In the absence of Peter Wright here in Germany, someone has to step up to that role, because the German fans love snake bites, and someone needs to become their darling, although they've got plenty
94.
of home nation contenders to step into his shoes.
Yes, well, I think we could see one heck of a game later between Dirk van Dijvenbode and Max Hopp.
Games from the fifth leg. Ryan Joyce.
But Ryan Joyce,
Sixth leg mark.
having
to
lost the first leg,
Game on.
has rattled off 4 on the spin.
Starting to look like a little bit of a mismatch, this one.
85.
Ryan Joyce, every time we see him, he looks that little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, it's still early days
60.
for Ryan Joyce in terms of stage darts and with these kinds of crowds, both in numbers and volume.
60.
But the floor game is competitive, very competitive. And if he starts to translate that, and look, I mean,
100.
he's not been playing proper darts for that long. In terms of, testing himself in competitive tournaments, whether it be the BDO or the PDC. And he's already getting
100.
results. He is really, mate, he has got, as the great man would say, he's got out of the gate quick.
Just been informed,
96.
Ryan Joyce did a 3 bullseye finish against John Henderson in Milton Keynes with Hendo sat on 40.
You know what? It was Hendo, not Ian White. It happened
100.
to. You're quite right.
I'm going to give credit to the person that's messaged in to let us know that. It was John Henderson that sent that a message.
133. Mark, you require 156.
Well, he would have been fuming. I'm not sure John Henderson can fume. One of the nicest guys in darts.
60. Ryan, you require 112.
Well, this is less showman, more business-like.
88. Mark, you require
Made a mess of the
96.
final dart, so Wilson. Now does he go double-double? Decides not to.
56.
And doesn't get a dart
Ryan,
for the
you
leg.
require 24.
Perhaps as a result, who knows whether he would have hit or not.
Game shot the
Joyce
sixth
does
leg.
hit.
Ryan Joyce.
And is now 1 leg away from a place in the second round.
Seventh leg, Ryan 2 for
They
first.
will get more
Game on.
chances to see whether he'll go bull on the prospect of 150 check out.
I'd love to see him do it against Michael Van Gerwen.
108.
I'd love to see him follow up his second 180 of this match with a third. Just had Harry Ward get in touch on social media. Big
60.
H saying that the little trick that Mark Wilson does where he, his owl manoeuvre, where his feet are pointing one way and he turns around and throws the other at the board, apparently he does it to stretch his back out.
46.
So it's like a sort of an exercise, if you like.
So 5-all in a important game of darts. He's got 150
100.
left. Ryan Joyce is just, what is he thinking with that relay? I'm just thinking about this check out.
134.
Right, the 150, bull. What he's thinking
He
is...
does it at any point in any match. If he's got it, he does it.
Yeah.
100.
I'm just completely
Ryan, you require
bamboozled by that. I've
141.
got no idea what's going on now in this game. But yeah, you are right. I would love to see him do it against Michael Van Gerwen.
Because you know what Van Gerwen will do in
98.
response. He'll try and do it himself.
And probably execute it.
Yeah, well, he's more likely than anybody else in the world to do it.
100.
But is that the
Ryan,
end
you
for Mark
require
Wilson? 43 required for Ryan Joyce for a 6-1 victory. Double 16. And that will do. He ends it with a 15-darter. Ryan Joyce, once again, a very solid display. Perhaps not quite as good as the stuff we're seeing week in, week out on the Pro Tour from him. But he is learning, he is getting better. And tonight, he had a little bit too much for Mark Wilson. We will see if Ryan Joyce, relentless, can step it up in the next round. He's going to have to, you feel, because the world's best player, Michael Van Gerwen, awaits. That means we've got 3 more games for you tonight. Luke Humphries and Ronnie Hybrex, Andy Bolton versus Christo Reyes in a moment. And perhaps the big one of the night for this crowd. Max Hopp, the German #1, and Dirk van Dijvenbode.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I started off really slowly, but I don't know. I think he didn't really play well. I was lucky to get through, really.
Michael Van Gerwen is waiting. Have you played him on stage?
No, never played him before.
What's your thinking about that match?
I think I'll get beat 6-0.
No.
I try and win 1 leg.
Oh, no, that's the wrong thinking.
I'm only joking. I'm just playing a few main games with Michael.
No, but seriously, in which way do you have to get in that match?
No idea. I've never played him before. I'm just going to. I'm playing the best player in the world, so I'm just going to enjoy it. Yeah.
Is the pace the most difficult thing?
I don't know. No idea.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Thank you very much. Ryan Joyce. Er hat nicht rausgerückt mit der Sprache, spielt morgen zum ersten Mal gegen Michael van Gerven und sagt, ich habe keine Ahnung, ich weiß nicht, wie es sein wird. Ich versuche es einfach. Er sagt erst, ich will nur die